Cruisers everywhere are saying the same thing. The big cruise lines just don't feel as good as they used to. And when frustration shows up this often, you know it's more than a few unlucky sailings. So I pulled the data. Hundreds of fresh reviews across Cruise Critic, Trustpilot, and every major site. That's where the real shock appeared. 6 major lines have taken a clear dive in passenger satisfaction, some falling harder than anyone expected. Why are once reliable lines slipping? What exactly changed onboard? And which name on this list will make you rethink your next booking? Let's start with the line that dropped the least. A small slide that hints at a much bigger problem underneath. Princess didn't fall far, but the drop is loud enough that longtime fans are worried. The line known for calm, elegant sailing is now getting reviews that read more like warning signs than gentle criticism. The biggest complaint? Aging ships that look and feel tired. Guests keep saying the same thing after boarding one of the older vessels. It feels like a ship that needs a reboot, not another itinerary. Carpets worn thin, decor stuck in another decade, cabins that don't quite live up to the price tag. It's not chaos, just a slow, steady erosion of the Princess charm. And then comes the twist no one expected. Even the new ships aren't escaping criticism. Sun Princess and Star Princess wowed people with their size on paper. But onboard? Guests say the layout feels confusing, the vibe less intimate, and the whole experience drifts away from what made Princess beloved in the first place. Food isn't helping the situation. Travelers report muted flavors, repetitive menus, and portions that feel scaled back. And while the crew is still warm and gracious, reviews hint at a deeper issue. They're stretched thin. Bigger ships with tighter staffing turn service from memorable into good enough. Even the Medallion app, the tech that was supposed to modernize the line, keeps showing up in complaints. Crashes, glitches, slow loading. When the feature designed to make your cruise easier becomes the thing slowing you down, it chips away at goodwill fast. All of this leads to one uncomfortable question Princess loyalists keep asking. Is Princess shifting so far toward the mainstream that it's losing the refined feel people sailed it for? And if this is what a 10% dip looks like, what happens when a line drops even harder? MSC's ships look stunning from the dock. Sleek lines, futuristic promenades, LED domes that make you feel like you're walking inside a screensaver. But once people step on board, the tone of the reviews shifts fast. The recurring frustration? Chaos. Not dramatic chaos, just the kind that wears you down. Long queues that appear out of nowhere, bottlenecked elevators, pool decks packed shoulder to shoulder. Guests say the ships feel fuller than the numbers claim. And there's a reason for that. MSC's aggressive family promotions pack the vessels with far more actual bodies than the brochure suggests. Then, the big twist. Even with gorgeous design, passengers still call the overall experience inconsistent. Meals arriving lukewarm, flavors that miss the mark, venues crowded before shows even start. The food debate is one of MSC's longest-running battles, and the last 6 months show the needle dipping further. Service is another tension point. European sailings get praise for charm. US sailings? A lot more mixed. Review after review describes friendly crew who seem overwhelmed, stretched, or simply unsure how to handle the American style of hospitality. And yet, hidden inside the ship is the exception that proves the rule. MSC Yacht Club. Guests describe it like a different cruise line entirely. Private, polished, deeply attentive. The contrast is so sharp it almost makes the rest of the ship feel more chaotic by comparison. So MSC's problem isn't one giant failure, it's the collision of ambition, crowding, and uneven execution. If this is the performance of a line with cutting-edge ships, the next one will hit even harder, because it's the line that built its entire identity on outdoing everyone else. Royal Caribbean has always been the line that makes people stop and say, wow. Bigger ships, louder entertainment, flashier neighborhoods. But the reviews from the last 6 months reveal a very different tension. The gap between the newest megaships and the rest of the fleet is widening fast. Passengers boarding older vessels describe them with words royal fans never used before: shabby, past their prime, forgotten. It isn't dramatic failure, just the steady ache of a product aging out while all the spotlight goes to the icons and Oasis-class giants. But here's the unexpected turn. Even the new ships aren't escaping criticism. The Icon of the Seas may dominate headlines, but once on board, guests talk about hunting endlessly for seats, navigating jammed pool decks, and waiting in lines that feel more like a theme park than a cruise. The ship is a marvel. It's also packed to the rails. Dining tells the same story. Not bad, not broken, just drifting toward mass-produced. Guests say menus feel repetitive, flavors feel muted, and the magic that once made Royal's food stand out is flattening as ships grow larger and busier. Then comes the quiet frustration that keeps appearing in reviews: nickel and diming. People aren't angry about paying for extras, they're surprised at how many extras there now are. Fewer little touches included, more small charges sprinkled across the week. Nothing outrageous on its own, but enough to make veterans say the experience feels thinner than before. Royal still delivers incredible entertainment and jaw-dropping hardware, but beneath the spectacle sits a question the brand hasn't had to face in years. Are the big ships getting too big? And is the Royal wow spreading itself too thin? Because the next line on this list didn't slip quietly. It made changes so controversial that even its most loyal fans started walking away. Norwegian's decline isn't subtle. It hits like a slap. A line once known for freedom and flexibility is now facing a sharper question from its own loyal cruisers. How did the experience change so quickly, and why does it feel so different now? The trouble began with small adjustments that didn't feel small once guests were on board. A charge for a second entree in the main dining room, fees for arriving late to a specialty reservation, daily cabin service cut in half, Broadway shows replaced with cheaper in-house productions. That's the problem. The signature perks that defined NCL quietly started shrinking. The tension comes from what passengers felt afterward. Review after review carries the same emotional punch. This doesn't feel like Norwegian anymore. Not angry, just disappointed, in a way that stings more. Then came the twist. The Prima-class ships, marketed as the bold new future, didn't land the way fans expected. Narrow promenades, undersized venues, entertainment spaces filling up before the show even starts. Sleek design, yes, but a layout that doesn't play well with Norwegian's crowd sizes. Dining slipped into the same pattern. Slimmer menus. Flavors losing depth. A subtle but noticeable downgrade compared to the meals longtime guests remember. And the older ships? They tell an even harder story. Wear showing everywhere, public spaces feeling tired, cabins past their prime. Reviews say the same thing in different words. The value isn't matching the price anymore. So the resolution passengers are left searching for becomes the sharpest question in this entire decline. Is Norwegian reinventing itself? Or slowly erasing the version people were loyal to? And if that wasn't dramatic enough, the next line proves the fall can go even deeper, because it's the one almost everyone once believed couldn't slip at all. Disney's drop is the shock no one saw coming. This is the line people used to call untouchable, the gold standard for families. Yet the latest reviews tell a story that feels almost impossible. How did the most beloved brand in cruising start losing the trust of the people who were willing to pay the most for it? The problem begins with value. Guests aren't complaining about high prices, they've always been high. The shift comes from something more unsettling, the feeling that the premium price no longer guarantees a premium experience. Crowds are the first fault line. Sailings to the Bahamas and Caribbean feel more packed than ever. And Treasure, Disney's newest ship, has become the center of the frustration. Review after review describes the same moment. Stepping on board expecting magic, and instead being met with congestion, lines, and venues that feel overrun. The tension deepens with dining. Words like bland, cold, and underwhelming now appear next to a brand once known for over-delivering. It isn't catastrophic, it's the slow erosion of excellence. And for families paying top-tier prices, even a small slip feels like a breach of trust. The real shock shows up in an entirely different place. Disney, a brand famous for generosity and seamless service, is now being accused of nickel and diming. Not because the charges are outrageous, but because the prices are already so high that any extra add-on feels out of place. Service remains warm, but stretched. Parents mention fewer magical touches, slower dining rooms, and crew doing their best while clearly managing heavier loads. The spell isn't broken, but the shimmer is thinning, and it leaves a lingering doubt hanging in the air. Has Disney quietly crossed the line from premium to overstretched, and what does that shift mean for the guests who once booked without thinking twice? Because if even Disney can slip this far, the final line on this list shows what a true freefall looks like. Something changed at Carnival, and the impact wasn't subtle, it hit the guest experience head-on. For a line built on fun, affordability, and loyal repeat cruisers, the shift felt abrupt enough that even longtime fans started asking, when did Carnival stop feeling like Carnival? The problem erupted the moment Carnival rewrote its loyalty program. For years, commitment was measured in nights at sea. Suddenly, loyalty meant spending more money, not spending more time. Passengers who had climbed the status ladder through years of sailing felt the floor move under them. Then came the tension on board. Food that felt flatter, menus that rotated less, portions that left guests wishing for the Carnival of 5 years ago. Nothing catastrophic, but enough to make people say, this used to be better. And the unexpected punch comes from an entirely different direction, the onboard atmosphere itself. Parents struggling with roaming kids, late-night hallways that sometimes felt unruly instead of lively. A handful of viral incidents painting a picture the brand had to work overtime to shake. Even fans admitted the vibe was drifting from playful toward chaotic. The aging fleet only deepened the contrast. Many of Carnival's older ships show their years plainly. Worn carpeting, dated layouts, cabins that feel left behind, while the new LNG megaships steal the spotlight. Mardi Gras, Celebration, and Jubilee shine, but they can't mask the fatigue across the rest of the lineup. Passengers searching for a resolution keep landing on the same uncomfortable thought. Carnival isn't just evolving, its identity feels pulled between two different versions of itself. And that's the ripple effect no one expected, because when a line this large starts losing trust, the entire market shifts. 6 cruise lines, 6 different stories, but one truth running through all of them. Guest expectations rose, and the experience didn't rise with them. Some lines slipped because they grew too fast, others because they cut too deep, and a few simply lost sight of what their most loyal passengers valued. But here's the part that changes everything. While these 6 were sliding, a handful of other cruise lines were quietly climbing, earning higher reviews, stronger loyalty, and a surge of repeat bookings. Why? What are they doing differently? And, more importantly, what can you learn from their rise before you book your next sailing? That's what we're diving into next. The cruise lines getting better while the rest of the industry struggles, who they are, what they fixed, and why passengers suddenly can't stop talking about them. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. Your next cruise might depend on it.